April 26, 1933, Berlin. Weeks after Hitler rose to power, Hermann Göring signed a decree that birthed a new weapon of fear. The Geheime Staatspolizei, the Gestapo. Their first mission was simple: destroy all opposition. But their methods were anything but simple. In the first months, the Gestapo targeted trade unionists, communists, and priests. They came at night. Doors splintered open, boots thundered on stairwells, and men were dragged from their beds half-dressed. Wives clutched at them and were beaten aside. Children screamed as black-coated officers shoved their fathers into waiting cars. Inside Gestapo headquarters, the work began. Prisoners were locked in airless cells, beaten until their ribs cracked, hung by their wrists until their shoulders dislocated. Some were drowned in buckets of water, only to be yanked up, choking for air. Entire nation afraid to even think of resistance. Yet the machine was not invincible. As the Reich began to crumble, so too did their grip. Allied bombs reduced their headquarters to rubble. In Poland and Yugoslavia, partisans struck back, ambushing patrols and assassinating officers. And when the Red Army surged westward, Gestapo men scrambled to burn records and flee, desperate to erase. Others were forced to stand for days without sleep, collapsing only to be kicked awake. But the brutality wasn't only in the chambers. The Gestapo thrived on fear. They built vast networks of informants, co-workers, neighbors, even children bribed with candy or threatened with punishment. A joke whispered at a pub, a careless word at church, even a sigh of doubt could be reported. A knock on the door could... How? Through rat lines, secret escape networks. With the help of Catholic clergy and American intelligence agencies desperate for anti-communist allies, Barbie escaped justice. Under a new name, Klaus Altmann, he arrived in Bolivia. There, he reinvented himself. By the 1960s, Barbie was advising military juntas. He trained soldiers in counterinsurgency, passed along torture methods refined in Lyon. 1930s, he had entered the Gestapo, where his efficiency earned admiration and his cruelty earned fear. Superiors praised his skill at breaking people, turning pain and terror into tools of obedience. In Barbie, the Nazi machinery found a servant who was loyal, pitiless, and endlessly hungry. Hours until death itself felt like release. But his cruelty wasn't limited to individuals. In 1944, he ordered the deportation of 44 Jewish children from the Izieu orphanage. They were placed on a train bound for Auschwitz. None returned. Who was this man who carried such darkness so casually? Born in 1930, or had the decades of freedom erased the weight of his punishment? Barbie's capture shocked the world, yet his story was not unique. Some Gestapo officers vanished even farther, slipping into distant lands, unseen and unpunished. He was efficient. He was cruel. He was Eichmann's right hand. Alois Brunner deported more than 130,000 Jews from Austria, France, and Slovakia. He organized the roundups, chose the trains, mocked his victims as they were dragged away. His detachment was total. Numbers on a page, not human lives. But how does someone like that interrogators in techniques perfected in Nazi prisons? How did he survive so long? Brunner was a master of disguise, false passports, new names. To neighbors, he was a polite Austrian civil servant in quiet retirement. No one suspected the old man with glasses was once the architect of mass deportations. The world did not forget, though. The Mossad hunted him. Twice, they sent letter bombs. One blew off his fingers. Another destroyed an eye. Yet he survived, scarred, but alive. In 1985, the Butcher of Lyon was arrested, extradited to France, and finally put on trial. Courtrooms filled. Survivors testified. The world watched. And in 1987, he was convicted of crimes against humanity. He spent his final years in prison, dying in 1991. But even with his conviction, the question lingered. Was justice delayed? Still justice delivered? 13 in Bad Godesberg, Germany. Klaus Barbie grew up in the shadows of a broken nation, a child of post-World War I hardship and political turmoil. His father worked long hours, his mother struggled to keep the household afloat, and young Klaus absorbed the instability around him like a sponge. At 19, he joined the SS, seeking purpose and authority in a society that seemed to offer little else. His cold ambition and ruthless precision quickly set him apart. By the mid-leap at night. Born in 1912 in Austria, Brunner joined the Nazi Party early. He rose fast, favored for his ruthless efficiency. When Adolf Eichmann needed someone to execute logistics, he turned to Brunner. The young Gestapo officer delivered results. Transport after transport left on time. The system of deportation ran like a machine, and Brunner was the oil that kept it moving. After 1945, the machine broke apart. Brunner did not. He vanished into the chaos, slipping past Allied patrols. In post-war Europe, whispers spread, he's in Austria. No, in Italy. Maybe in Rome under a priest's protection. Each rumor ended in silence. By the 1950s, the truth was even stranger. Brunner had fled to Syria. There, under government protection, he lived like a ghost. Intelligence files suggest he advised the regime on surveillance and torture, using Gestapo methods in Damascus. He was even said to have trained in the evidence of what they had done. Many were hunted down and dragged before tribunals. Their own methods reflected back at them, but not all were caught. Some slipped away, faceless in the ruins. Where did they hide? And what shadows followed them long after the war? In occupied France, he became a shadow that resistance fighters dreaded. Prisoners dragged into his interrogation rooms often never walked out. They were strapped to chairs, beaten until their bones cracked. Some simply disappeared. Others were worked over for power, embodying the very essence of the terror state. Even among Nazis, he was considered dangerous. Survivors recalled how he always carried a pistol during interrogations. He didn't just dominate prisoners. Other officers, hardened men themselves, avoided his gaze. Then, 1945 came. Germany collapsed. The Gestapo scattered, and war criminals were dragged into courts across Europe. But Barbie slipped away, disappeared into the smoke of Europe's ruins, and became a consultant in the hunt for Che Guevara. While survivors in France whispered his name with hatred, Barbie walked the streets of La Paz openly. Decades passed, but truth has a long memory. In 1983, his cover was blown. The Gestapo's reach stretched across the Reich. In occupied lands, they hunted Jews, teachers, doctors, priests, and resistance fighters. In Poland, tens of thousands were executed in forests and courtyards, their bodies shoveled into pits while their names vanished into paperwork. In short, the Gestapo's job was never justice. It was terror. To erase opposition not only by killing disappearance. And disappearances were common. Families woke to empty beds and silence that never broke. Mothers wandered police stations with photos of their missing sons, only to be told nothing. Behind closed walls, the Gestapo filled its quotas. Arrests, deportations, executions, each one logged neatly in cold typewritten reports. By 1939,